If there's a single factor that stands out as a valuable resource in its ability to take the stage as a world superpower, it's the Chinese people.
We're talking about the ability of Chinese to absorb new technology rapidly. New technologies is available to any country in the world. Why don't some other countries absorb the modern technology in the way that the Chinese have done? The Chinese labor force is of very high quality. The character of the Chinese people, such as working hard, respect for learning, is the characteristic of the Chinese people.
China is rich in human capital, but it goes beyond that. China's rich historical and cultural past contribute to that high quality in terms of working habits, motivation, and ability to understand new technology.
What you've seen in the last 20 years is the incredible speed at which China has brought in new technology and popularized it on a mass scale, so that the spread of mobile phone technology has been quicker in China on a larger scale than anywhere else in the world.
Moving from the countryside to Beijing, scientist Jianyong Lu has noticed a big change.
With the economic development in China, high technology has spread into our daily lives. Now we can buy laptops or digital cameras. 10 or 20 years ago, Chinese people couldn't even afford a television. Now we can use all sorts of luxury electronic goods.
Although China is going through rapid change and attitudes are changing, the Chinese have not lost sight of their past traditions. The family education and traditional values of Chinese, like the Mo family, still embraces teaching of ancestors and the family tree, helping future generations understand its rich and splendid past.
When I was young, our grandparents told us all about our family traditions. When worshipping our ancestors, the young should help out the old. I uphold the same tradition in my family, bringing in the next generation. My wish is my grandchildren will obey the law. Otherwise, there will be shame on the family and also on our ancestors. It's the biggest shortcoming. Teach the kids while they're still young, so it becomes their habit. We have a family education. Now when we watch TV at night, there are 11 kids in my room. I'll talk to them while we're all watching TV together. We teach the young generation to love each other and act with conscience. Then we'll have a harmonious family. Caring for each other is the key to a good family.
The World Wide Web has even reached the Mo family.
We get information from TV news, and sometimes our relatives will call and tell us the news. I've been to internet cafe 1 or 2 times, and we could surf the internet when attending computer class in school.
But it's not only technology from the West that China is embracing.
Our young generation knows a lot about Europe, America, and the rest of the Western world. We know that they have many advantages that we could learn from. Now, many people want to study overseas, like Europe or America, to learn their advanced ideas and high technology. It helps our economic growth and improves the villages, the cities, and the political system. We exchange different ideas and communicate with the Western world. Through the younger generation, we have a better understanding of the West, more about their societies. It helps to achieve a better development both in China and the whole world as well. I think it's important to know the outside world.
So in going to the countryside, everyone has bought themselves a satellite dish so they can, in theory, watch programs from all over the world. And they now have over 200 million people on the internet. I mean, there's still a huge internet divide, but the price of this technology, because of Chinese manpower, has become so cheap that it's become available within 4 or 5 years of it being pioneered in the West.
If family education and its values provide a stabilizing influence on Chinese culture, it was the invention of another commodity that would enable communication of their ideas on a broader scale. There's a common misunderstanding that the Egyptians were the first to make paper. They used leaves of the papyrus plant to write on, but this was not paper. Paper is something completely different, and you can make it in much larger quantities than papyrus. Deep in the hills outside Guiyang, traditional methods are still practiced. Invented by the Chinese around the 2nd century BC, its ancient manufacturing techniques are still employed by these Guizhou villagers. In early days, paper was made from tougher fibers than is common in modern paper, so it could be used as clothing, curtains, bedding, and even shoes. In the 9th century, it was used as lightweight armor that was said to be impenetrable by arrows. Much to the disbelief of Arab observers at the time, ancient Chinese even used it for sanitary purposes as early as 600 AD. Even though Arabs may not have enjoyed the full use of this new material, they didn't want to share it with their European counterparts, keeping it secret for several hundred years. By the time the Europeans did get paper in the 8th century AD, the world had embraced all the other uses for paper that the Chinese had been using for centuries. To make paper, pounded fibers are disintegrated in a watery solution and settled onto a flat mold. The water is drained away and the deposited layer is removed and dried. The fibers can be any material, although plant fibers are the most common. In the 1700s, papermaking flourished in this region. And even up to the 1940s, one of these villages could produce up to 500,000 tons of paper each year. Today, China has the fastest growing paper manufacturing industry in the world, and also the largest. Housing some of the biggest paper machines in the world, this state-of-the-art factory is on the Yangtze River outside Shanghai. With an area of almost 200 hectares, it is also the largest paper production plant in China, producing 850,000 tons of fine paper per annum. Each of these rolls of paper weighs over 60 tons. But the ancient Chinese also had another remarkable first, and they developed it hundreds of years before anyone else. Printing. But where did it all start? Deep in the mountains of China's Gansu province lies part of the answer. The first living Buddha was once a student and abbot at this great monastery. In its halls, monks study theories of astronomy, medicine, music, and Tibetan Buddhism. Within its walls are more than 10,000 statues of Buddha and 65,000 Buddhist scriptures, one of the richest collections of Buddhist books in the world. This is Labrang Monastery. It is here that we find evidence of some of the oldest printing blocks in the world. So old, even Marco Polo described its method over 700 years ago. Each one of these blocks represents a whole page, and even today they can be reproduced with the same efficiency. But there's a reason for printing by the page. Originating about 4,000 years ago, Chinese characters form the world's oldest writing system that still remains in use. This ideographic script uses pictographic symbols to write essential words and produces a vast number of characters and composites that are standard across China.
They would print whole pages, whole pictures at once. The Europeans had the special advantage when it comes to this field of having an alphabet. So you could make 26 letters and move them around and make words out of them. The Chinese, with their writing system, couldn't. So the Europeans got way ahead of the Chinese, and still are ahead of the Chinese when it comes to that system.
Even with this linguistic disadvantage, movable type was still invented in China 400 years before Gutenberg introduced it in Europe. But the expertise required to execute it would make it a rarity. China has once again become a world leader in printing. Its annual output of newspapers, magazines, and books for global consumption reaches into the billions. After a gap of 500 years, China is once again in the business of building huge ocean-going vessels. With 8 main shipyards, Jiangsu province alone is involved in the construction of almost 50 ships at a time. Just like the days of its great treasure fleet from the 15th century, when China was the world's leader in ship design and construction. Today, China's shipyards are among the largest you'll see anywhere on the planet. Perhaps also it is fitting that this great nation, once a pioneer in navigating the world's oceans, is now among the world's leaders in navigating the heavens. What began in China 1,000 years ago as an innovation for warfare has evolved into a means to explore other worlds. The rocket. Western science transformed it from a simple military weapon to a means of exploration. As that knowledge is passed back, modern China now becomes only the 3rd nation to send men into space.
Joseph Needham suggested that the rocket might well be China's greatest gift to the modern world.
Based at Cambridge University, the late Joseph Needham's work is the foundation for this entire story. First arriving in China during World War II, this young British scholar would spend the next 40 years uncovering some of China's most extraordinary secrets. His life's work amounts to more than 20 volumes on science and technology in China.
Joseph Needham's work is important because it changed the way everybody thought about China. Everybody who studied the history of science basically thought it was a story that started with the ancient Greeks, had a rather sort of embarrassing pause during the Dark Ages, and then Galileo, Newton, and it's all a Western story right through. He changed all that by showing how fertile China was in scientific and technological terms in pre-modern times. And in China, too, he changed people's ideas.
It's important that we understand the significance of what Needham discovered, because China's history holds the key to its future. So what is the legacy of China in our modern world? Geographical good fortune allowed Chinese civilization to develop earlier than many other parts of the world. Its highly productive agriculture meant that a sophisticated society could develop, and this in turn enabled technological innovations to flourish. Almost 2,500 years ago, the Chinese were discovering how to make cast iron, steel, and paper. They invented the compass and also developed ways to drill for natural gas and use petroleum. Around 400 AD, when the Roman Empire was falling, the Chinese had invented the suspension bridge, porcelain, and mastered maritime engineering design that would transform the world. Many others, like the stirrup, gunpowder, the mechanical clock, printing, and even the discovery of tea would lay the foundations for our modern world. It's an impressive list, and there's even more. The Chinese also invented the wheelbarrow, the fishing reel, the umbrella, the hang glider, and even matches. But perhaps the true legacy of China runs deeper still. Our world today is very different from the time of the ancient Greeks and Confucius. We're all neighbors, sharing ideas in our global village. While the West has given China modern science, China has given the world an undisputed legacy of inventions. There is a holistic philosophy that is at the core of Chinese society in the shape of family and its emphasis on unity and interconnectivity. It's a system that is increasingly appreciated in the West. In the 21st century, modern China is undeniably an economic giant. But although its influence grows stronger, it has yet to emerge as a global leader in science and technology. And if it does, it will complete a cycle that started over 2,000 years ago, when ancient China was the world's most prolific innovator.